The idea of a book is incredibly hardy. Over the years, books have taken lots of forms. Books were oral, then they were scrolls, and then they were codices, bound books that were hand copied, and then they were bound books that were printed. Um, and today we have the idea of an ebook, which is a pretty nebulous thing. Ebooks can be a few words long. They can be as long as Wikipedia, which, if you printed it out, would fill whole rooms. They can have lots of media in them and so on. I think we don't know yet what an electronic book is, as opposed to a book that's merely in electronic form, because we've yet to really find a very successful kind of electronic book that can only be represented electronically, and that if you tried to turn it into a print book wouldn't work. And I think that's something that is properly an electronic book. Now I say that, and at the same time we have things like Wikipedia, which are arguably books. At least they replace a thing that was a book, and that are so far removed from the boundaries of the printed page that it is really hard to imagine them working as a printed book. So maybe Wikipedia is like the first cut of a genuinely electronic book, a book that isn't just pouring the old wine into a new bottle, but is an altogether new kind of thing. As to libraries, I think that libraries have never merely been a place where books were accumulated. Libraries have always been about teaching people how to navigate the authority in knowledge to answer their own questions as well as they can. Libraries have always been about access to all human knowledge. And one of the jobs that librarians did was try to winnow the chaff from the wheat, try to go through all of the things that were printed and find the ones that are worthy, or that are significant, or that people should be looking at, or that people might find a real answer in. And that problem of figuring out which things are worthy has gotten much harder because there's so much information available. And we really only have one group of people in the world who've devoted themselves to solving that problem year in, year out for centuries, and that's librarians. And so as the problem of figuring out how to navigate authority, how to figure out what the best answer is, not just any answer or the first answer, but the best answer is to any question you have, becomes more complex, librarians are more needed than ever. And so I really think that librarians have a robust future. I think that we live in an age of austerity, fairly manufactured austerity, where a very small number of people have accumulated an ungodly amount of wealth at the expense of a wider society. And that because nobody wants to talk about that, instead we talk about the idea that public spending is out of control because the rich have accumulated all of the money and refuse to pay any tax on it. And so we talk about libraries as though they were a luxury, but libraries are anything but a luxury. Libraries are one of the kind of hallmarks of a civilized society. And the talk about shutting down libraries as unnecessary in the 21st century is, to my mind, a very ideological proposition. And it's an ideological proposition that says we should let the affluent off the hook for being part of the wider society and giving back in the same way that poor people do, then giving back comparable portions of their income to poor people, as poor people do.